Hi friends, how you doing today? Well, today for our presentation I was going to talk about valerian, and I've been doing some wildcrafting or foraging up in the Rocky Mountains, and I didn't get a whole lot, but I got some valerian root that makes wonderful medicine, and I'm going to tell you about it. So I picked out, and what I'm also going to show you is how I start processing this after I've wildcrafted. So I was out there yesterday digging in the valerian patch and taking only a few, because you always want to leave enough for next year. And I have some valerian. So these are babies. This is early spring right now, and this is a baby valerian. And valerian comes from it's got a plant family almost of its own. It's called the Valerianaceae family, and this particular species that grows here in our mountains is Valeriana occidentale, which is actually Western valerian. The valerian that you'll see in most textbooks are Valeriana officinalis. Officinale means the official medicinal species, but this one is interchangeable, and I've been using it for quite a few years in the fresh variety, and it works great. So here it was, just popping up. And the first thing you see in the spring are these tiny little kind of ovate shaped leaves. But the part of the plant that you use are the roots. And as you can see, valerian roots, they're kind of trailers. So they trail along the ground. And then here's another plant that could have been connected. I put them together, you can kind of get a picture of how this stuff grows. It's very close to the ground at first, and here's how the roots grow. So this plant gets to various heights depending on the species. I'm going to show you a picture of what this would look like later on in the spring when it's gotten larger. This is a book written by one of my friends, Mary O'Brien and Karen Vale, and they wrote this book called Edible and Medicinal Plants of the Southern Rockies. And in this book, it's always good to have a wildcrafting book along with you so you can make a good identification. Here is Western valerian when it's grown taller. And you can see it has a little white cluster of flowers on it. It's called a chyme. And so if you found it in this state, you wouldn't want to pick it, because all the energy of the plant has gone to the flower, and you want that flower to develop into seed so it can reseed itself and grow next year. So the time to pick roots is either when it's a baby plant in the spring before the flowers have come up, or in the fall when the energy of the plant has gone back down into the roots, and the flowers has gone to seed and no longer blooming. So this is what Western valerian looks like. This is called the habit. You can see where I found it in the mountains. I found it in a montane area, that's an elevation of around 8,000 feet. It's in between the foothills and the subalpine regions, and that's where you find it. And it likes to grow around aspen trees. And so the valerian that I collected was actually under aspens. And it had just been raining for a few days, so these little leaves were just beginning to come up. And some of them even had flower buds on them. And if they have flower buds, leave them alone. But if the flower hasn't formed yet, it's all right to collect it at this time. So after you collect these plants, you have to, all I did was collect them. I put them in a little bag, paper bag, and then I put them in the Ziploc overnight in the refrigerator to keep them fresh and wet, because what we're eventually going to do is make a fresh tincture from the roots. First thing you have to do is clean these off. So I have a hose here. I'm outside, as you can see. And you really you have to get all the dirt off the roots. And what I'm going to do after I get some of the dirt off, I'll put it in a bowl. See how the roots look, these little rootlets coming out, plus this longer dark root portion it's all very valuable medicine. So what I'm going to be doing is washing them, soaking them, repeatedly until no more dirt appears in the water. You got to get them totally clean, dirt, and if there's any other plants hanging on to them, like little pieces such as like that, you don't want that. So it's a process of just going through and cleaning the plant. Now valerian is known as a nervine, or here's a piece of grass, didn't want it. Nervines are herbs that affect the nervous system of the body, and valerian is a relaxant, so it's a really good thing. It has relaxing qualities. It's very good to use for insomnia, particularly insomnia where people can't get to sleep because they're anxious and their mind is churning and they're thinking about everything, and there's some anxiety there, and that's why they can't sleep. Valerian is very useful for that type of insomnia. Insomnia can be caused by many different causes. And sometimes it's a little hard to figure out which it is. Valerian is also not good if somebody is very overheated or hot or has a hot condition, because sometimes it can have the opposite effect if you use it for the wrong person. It's also good for relaxing muscles. So if someone was anxious and had muscle pain, this would be a winner. So I'm doing this, and I have a whole bag of it, but I'm just showing you. What I'm going to do here is soak it in my bowl in water. And this is getting there. There's some dirt in here, but you want this water to eventually come out clean with no dirt in it at all. So this is my valerian, and what I do when I get done with getting it thoroughly washed is I will take this and lay it in a basket to dry out a little bit. We're not drying it totally because we're going to use this plant fresh. Now there's something about valerian. Some of you may know valerian because people say the root smells nasty. The root smells like a locker room, like dirty socks. That's the kind of reputation valerian has. But I'll tell you, if you tincture it fresh like this before these roots have dried out, it doesn't smell that way. You don't get that nasty, dirty sock locker room smell. And I personally have had much better success using this fresh. A lot of plants are really good using fresh, and they work better. And so this is our valerian that I'm going to lay out here, and later today probably I'm going to show you what happens to this plant after it dries out a little bit and how I process it into a fresh tincture. So there you have our friend valerian, and the root is the medicine, and it's one of my favorite herbs. Thank you so much.